Well, good morning, Flyers fans. Welcome back to Clear the Ice, Flyers postgame show here on the It's a Wrap Sports Network. Your boy Matty B hung around for this dreadful game. Yeah, absolutely dreadful game by the Flyers. Flyers lose tonight 5-4. They snatch victory from the jaws, or defeat, I should say, from the jaws of victory. 5-4 overtime tonight. I don't know where to start, honestly, in this. I guess we can kind of go back to the lightning rod that has been what sort of the problem with this team has been this year, and that's been the goaltending. Sam Ersson got the call tonight. Was not good. He wasn't good. I'm sorry. He just wasn't good. And, the way they choked this thing away, they got up early. They got up big. Utah climbed back in. And then at the very end of the game with less than a minute left, I hate when you're on the other end of these type of goals at the end of a game when, the goaltender's pulled and it's a fast and furious push and you give up that goal right there at the end. It's just so goddamn deflating. And Joe Hale's checking in, says a horrible loss. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. Bad loss tonight. No other way to say it. Some positives early on in this game, obviously. Christian Dvorak tonight, 2 goals. How did he come up with it? Where does all this offense coming from him? Bobby Brink got a goal. It was good to see that. Cam York got a goal. These are some names that we want to hear more about to kind of get back into things. But it really goes right back to the inconsistency in between the pipes. And as much as the story that we've talked about all season long has been the resurgency of the Flyers. And I think if you kind of look at this team at this stage last year versus this stage this year, you look at the positions, the forwards versus defense, maybe you can kind of see an improvement with personnel. But it's not getting any better between the pipes. And I don't know what this he played well the other night in Vegas. I got to give him that. But it was kind of odd that they went back to him tonight. I said it on my show earlier. You got Colorado looming on Friday. I don't know if putting Kovaslov in that game makes any sense. Well, it's going to, because obviously I think Kovaslov is going to start that, which why would you do that? Why wouldn't you put the more experienced goalie in that Colorado game and then put Kovaslov in this game? I'm not saying it would have changed the result of this, but just a disheartening loss to sort of control this game and to watch this team kind of just chip away, and you're getting no support from your goalie. 5 loss tonight, just terrible. Hathaway, he had a chance with actually there was 2 chances at the end of the game with the goalie pull that they screwed up on. Hathaway getting poke checked there from behind going in. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, man. But look, again, I'm not going to get too down on Hathaway. It's Garnet Hathaway, for God's sakes. This is what we got, and you got to live by this. But I just can't wrap my head around it, man. I cannot wrap my head around this type of performance again in between the pipes, and why it's become acceptable. Why isn't Danny B doing something? And I'm not asking him to break the bank and go after Vasilevsky or anything like that. I ain't looking for that. Alex Lyon will do. Alex friggin' Lyon will do. And I just don't. With all the good vibes this team has kind of had this year, none of it's going to matter much. The goaltending is just not going to be there, and they're not going to get into the play. They're not going to get in the playoffs with this goaltending. They're just not, and that's just a hard reality. Ross checks in, says, always finding new ways to choke. Yeah, man, I don't know. I agree. Yeah, Bobby Brink played well tonight. But you know what? Not that well. The goal he had on the power play, listen, we're going to break that goal down as we move through the show, Joe. Brink was sort of kind of, I don't know, Brink was a little lost out there on the ice. He kind of caused a little bit of a problem. Zegras is trying to and again, we'll get into it, but he's camped up there in the high slot. Zegras kind of tries to make a move. Brink's kind of just standing there, got to clear out. Zegras is waiting for him to clear out, waiting for him to do something, holding the puck, kind of slowed the play, broke the play a little bit. It worked out for the Flyers, though, but I mean, he played okay. Hang on about that, but played okay. Oh, man. All right, so for the Flyers tonight, the healthy scratches, or the people that didn't play, it's the usual suspects of Nick Delorier, Carl Gunderson, and Hunter McDonald, the recently recalled. Oli Matna, Cam Hebig, and Kaller Yamamoto. Just friggin' cast the names right there for Utah. They were healthy scratches or did not play. In between the pipes tonight, Sam Ersson, 27 shots faced, 22 goals surrendered. 0.815 save percentage. Yeah, same old Sam for the Mammoth. What's his name? What's this guy's name? Karl Vejmelka got the nod tonight for the Mammoth, and he faced 29 shots, made 25 saves, and did not fare much better than Ersson did with a 0.862 save percentage. But you know what? Where he needed it, he got it. So let's get into this thing. Let's get it over with. I go to bed. The Flyers would get going early in this game. Rather than scored late than early, it turns out. But 30 seconds in, Cam York, nice to see it. Nice to see Cam York get back in the score sheet. I know there's been some talk around that Cam York has been having a good season. I ain't gonna say he's gonna have a good season. There's been some talk around. I mean, I'm still kind of out on Cam York. I need to see more from him. But his fourth goal from Dvorak and Sanheim. Again, Dvorak 3-point night tonight. Am I reading this right? 3 points for Dvorak. We'll get into that. Gives the Flyers the 1-0 lead at 30-second mark. And let's roll the tape on this goal. There were some pretty goals tonight scored by the Flyers. I ain't going to lie. There were some pretty things to see, some pretty offense to look at. And everything was trending in the right way until Ersson got his way here. So let's bring up this goal. All right, I'm going to pick up play inside the Utah zone, and we're just going to try to keep this play alive. As who's that up there? Bring it down, and it's connecting with the puck now. He's going to come sit up into the slot. Does a really good job here, kind of just trying to see things through with instincts. Flyers, are obviously going to start moving toward the net. Little turnaround shot there by Sanheim. Kind of goes weird. Rebound pops out, and there's Cam York standing on the doorstep as he cashes in to make it 1-0. Weird kind of sequence there in front of the net. Looked like it hit off the Utah defender. It might have been a hit off Dvorak, and it came back and hit off the goalie. Maybe even the pipe there, maybe the crossbar or the post. I don't know, but it popped right back out, and Cam York was sitting there, Johnny, on the spot to give the Flyers the 1-0 lead. And that would be as it would go for about 3 minutes later when Christian Dvorak would cash in his 11th of the season from Konechny and Yulson to give the Flyers a 2-0 lead. And let's bring this one up. This is a goal that I would imagine Utah wants back. Kind of lazy defensive play, but we'll take it as the Flyers were able to capitalize on that. And it was good to see the Flyers do something in this goal sequence that they have not been doing well for the last 2 years. And that's kind of transition from offense to defense, or defense to offense, whatever you want to say it. And they did that well on this play. And let's pick it up inside the Flyer zone as they're going to try to get it out of there. They do. And this was a play that worked so well for them 2 years ago that has not worked in years. But the Flyers are going to possess the puck. And there's Dvorak. He's just going to break right up center ice, and the defenseman's just going to kind of let him go and fall asleep, and then boom. Dvorak's got a breakaway. It's just a really lazy play by the Utah player. And Dvorak's just going to go, make a nice nifty little move, go far side, and boom, 2-0. Just a very lazy play. But as I said, we'll take it. And Christian Dvorak continues his scoring ways. 2-0 Flyers. And that would be it for the first period. In that period, the Flyers would outshoot Utah 14-7. And we move on to the second period, and Bobby Brink on the power play. To give the Flyers, it looked like at that point, an insurmountable 3-0 lead. So we're early on into the second period. and the Flyers are up 3-0, and they've done pretty well keeping the heat off of Urson, and then it just sort of kind of crumbles from here. But let's live in the good moment first. Again, another early period goal, 58 seconds into the second. Brink his 12th from Zegras and Drysdale on the power play. Flyers actually scored 2 power play goals in this game, which was really good to see. Now, you can look at it this way as well. They were on the power play 6 times, so they're 2 for 6, but I'll take it. I ain't going to stare a gift power play in the mouth. I'm taking the power play percentages tonight. I'm loving it. They get a goal here in the power play. So let's pick it up. Interesting angle as Trevor Zegras is going to come right into your face here as he is going to move out the puck on the power play. A nice camera angle. I like this, man. This should actually show the whole game from this point of view. So the Flyers, there's Brink with the puck. Now, I just want you to keep an eye on Brink because this is the play that Joe was like, he played well. So Brink kind of doing what he's supposed to do in the power play, right? He's going to kind of camp out and look for kind of the flow of the play here. Down in the low slot. The Flyers missed an opportunity here to kind of feed him down low. Imagine maybe, Drysdale tries to put a shot on net. It was a bad pass back to him. So whatever. They'll break the play up. Here comes Brink back up to the high slot. And the puck's going to go back over to Zegras. Now, this is where Brink kind of just he's looking around and now look at Zegras. He doesn't know what Brink's doing. He doesn't have space to maneuver. So he kind of peels off the play while Brink figures himself out, and Brink then goes all the way back here to the bad ice side down by the net, and he's just going to kind of take himself out of the play here. But as things kind of develop a bit even more, this was a good thing because he's going to be the benefactor of a rebound. But Zegras kind of seeing Brink out of the corner of his eye going towards the net, gets that fat rebound, and Brink is there to cash it in. So what's turned out to be kind of a bad power play setup, which it really was. Brink sort of like, hey, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Ends up being a good play as he cashes in on the goal to make it 3-0 Flyers on the power play. All right. So, but then that would be it. It would be pretty much all Utah at this point forward. The Flyers would only score one more goal the rest of the way, and Utah would come on back. I do not have this goal for some odd reason. I don't know why I couldn't find it, but Utah Mammoth would get on the board at the 5:35 mark of the second period. JJ Petrika's 17th goal was unassisted to make it 3-1. And then just as you were getting back in your seat and cheering that goal, if you're out in Utah, Lawson Krause, his 13th from Schmaltz and Keller. Keller had a big night as well to give the cut the Flyer lead to 3-2 at the 6:11 mark of the second period. I do have this goal. So let's pull this up. I don't know, for some odd reason, I couldn't find the Mammoth's first goal. I don't know. No, let's bring this thing up. All right, so we're gonna pick up play inside the Flyer zone, and it's really nothing exotic here at all. Kind of play gets broken up in front. Flyers have an opportunity to get it out of there. They're fumbling around. There's my boy Emil Andre, man. Oof, golly, what is he still doing here? They turns the puck over, and then it's just chaotic, and it just really, goals like this, I have a hard time trying to be professional when it comes to, but come on, man. We got rid of Zamula. Can we get rid of Andre too? It's just, it's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic with him. You got it when you're in that position as a defender, and we're going to look at it again. You got to possess the puck. You got to get it out of there. You got to possess it, get it out. He gets his pocket picked. Play continues on. And then, it's just now, and then he's just going to get caught flat footed as he leaves a man open, and then boom, makes it 3-1 here. So just another bad goal given up, by Urson, but an equally bad goal by the Flyer defense as they get victimized by the turnover. It's now 3-1 Utah. I'm sorry, 3-2 Utah at this point. The Flyers would get a little bit of insurance there, latter part or midway point through the second period. Christian Dvorak's second goal on the power play at the 10:28 mark to give the Flyers the 4-2 lead. And we'll bring that one up. Let's bring that one up. As Dvorak had himself a night, man. I guess he's cashing in on that new contract of his, man. He's feeling the pressure here. He's feeling the pressure to be the new scorer for the Flyers. All right, let's take a look at this thing. All right, play inside the Flyer zone, and the Flyers are going to come back out again. Another decent transitional play, as maybe we're getting better at this. Maybe we're getting better going from defense to offense. Flyers will break into the zone. That's going to be Christian Dvorak right here, and he's just going to, again, take a really good angle. Lack of commitment on both the Utah defense and the goalie. The kind of cut on, he kind of angle off. They make the original save, but the rebound's left for him, and yeah, he just tucks it up underneath that over the stick. They give the Flyers a 4-2 lead. You know, 2 goals now the Flyers have scored in this game. Really just kind of sort of question the motivation and the heart of some of the Utah defensemen, as Dvorak, a benefactor of 2 lazy goals, but they count, and I'll take them. And that will make it 4-2, and then we will head into the second intermission at 4-2. 10-10 were the shots on net for both teams in the second period. Come out into the third, and it would be Barrett Hayton, his 6th on the power play from Gunther and Schmaltz to make it 4-3 at 12:47. Let's bring this thing up as the Mammoth are on the comeback trail here. And this is where the Urson factor sort of kicks in with the Flyers. You know, it's very hard to get motivated to talk about a game like this. Man. All right, we're going to pick up play inside the Flyer zone. Again, Flyers are Flyers are shorthanded here. And, you know, we're going to play the usual style of let's collapse to the goalie. They're a little late doing that, as Dvorak is sort of kind of late getting back into play. But, you know, hey, it is what it is. Utah's just going to look for a seam. Nice cycling. Again, what the Flyers have is pretty well defended. I ain't going to get really upset about this at all. You know, you leave that point guy wide open because he's really in a low percentage part of the scoring circle. Yeah, again, I got no real issues with this goal or with this defense. I know a lot of people like an aggressive penalty kill. It can be effective at times, but so the Flyers are going to lay down and they're going to collapse down as the puck goes down low. They're going to go down low with it. And Utah's just being patient, man. They're waiting. They're looking for their opportunities. And we're going to start getting players profiled behind the net in bad ice. And we're just going to look for something out front. Nothing's there. We're going to go back up to the top of the dot. Very patient. Very methodical. Yeah, Sean Couturier is going to overskate his man a little bit. Going to allow that little seam. And then I guess it kind of goes up and in between some people and, you know, through the screen. And there's Sam Ersson on his knees, bewildered as always. And it's 4-3. You know, a very innocent looking play. It is. It's a very slow, methodical power play. Just looking for a little bit. A shot from distance. Yeah, there was a screen that might have gotten deflected around a little bit, but still, yeah, I'm sorry. Am I too hard on these goalies when I say you need to make that save? I think you do. And then that's the way the score would stay until literally the 19:25 mark of the third period as Clayton Keller, his 14th, unassisted with the goalie out to tie this thing up and send it into overtime. Again, the Flyers had 2 opportunities at the end of the game to ice it away. Could not do it on either one of them. Allowed Utah an opportunity to kind of have this moment here, and they did not waste it as they were able to score at the end of the period, at the end of the game, snatching away that point from the Flyers and send this bad boy into overtime as Sam Ersson is not really open to the test here. Again, the Flyers skating at this point, 6-on-5 with the goalie out. Let's see what we got here. So we're gonna get the puck out into neutral ice. I think Tourier's offsides there, honestly. But again, we're holding on. This is the second chance they had to kind of ice it away. Earlier in this period, earlier in this sequence, Hathaway had an opportunity. There was the second opportunity to try to put this thing away. The Flyers just lacking any sort of like sense of urgency here, and we're gonna try to keep the puck in. This is just ugly, man. This whole thing is ugly. As we're gonna get a turnover heading back the other way, as Konechny was unable to kind of possess the puck. Still, though, the Flyers are I mean, it's like Keystone Cops, man. Look, the puck is still hanging around the zone. I mean, just ugly. And then the puck they're going to get this thing is going to pop out. And, man, Konechny's all over it. Bad attempt back. It's going to slow things down a little bit. And then a turnover inside the Flyers zone is going to lead to a potential opportunity. And it's just terrible defense. It's Drysdale getting victimized here as there we go. No, I'm sorry. That's my boy. I thought that was Drysdale. That's my boy Sanheim. That's the Canadian Olympian looking like he doesn't know what the hell he's doing out there. Just disheartening goal. Sloppy goal. Sloppy play by the forwards. Terrible defense by the overpaid defenseman Travis Sanheim. And a bad goaltending performance. Utah ties it up at 4. And we headed into overtime. And just it's so the energy of this Flyers hockey team just sort of got sucked out as the game wore on. Their crisp play just kind of was lacking. And then in the shots in the third period was 9-5 Utah. In the overtime, I'm not going to show this goal. Clayton Keller gets an opportunity 2-on-1, and he makes it 5-4 for the overtime winner at 2:01. His second goal of the night, third point. And Utah Mammoth defeat the Flyers 5-4. In the overtime, Utah outshot the Flyers 1-0. On the game, it was 29-27. Flyers outshot the Mammoth. Flyers 2 for 6 on the power play. The Mammoth 1 for 3. Flyers blocked 18 shots, gave the puck away a whopping 20 times, took it away 5 times. And there you have it. Just a terrible end to this hockey game. Just a terrible end. Like from the midpoint, like when it was 4-2, rest of the way, it was just a garbage performance by the Flyers. Terrible goaltending, sloppy forward play, piss poor defense there at the end with Travis Sanheim. I don't know what he's thinking he could do there as he gets skated right by. And now the Flyers are faced with a situation, have to go to Colorado with potentially Kovaslov in net. And again, I'm not saying I'm not like, oh no, we don't have Urson, but you go with the more experienced guy, I would think, in that situation. But I don't know. Did the Flyers go back to Urson on Friday night? I hope not. So Kovaslov will probably get the start on Friday against Colorado. You had an opportunity, to lock down this game with the win, go into Colorado, and see what happens. Now you're going in there and demoralizing win. Again, one of these losses, demoralizing loss, one of these losses that really puts you in perspective of where the Flyers are in the pecking order. It's just a bad game. Bad game, breakdowns all over. So 5-4 Flyers losing overtime. Don't forget we'll be back on Friday night, as Mike Lauro will have you, and I probably won't see you for a while. I'm going to take a little break from the Clear the Ice for a couple games. Give Mike his chance. Hell, I might be in Friday night if he's got to go out there and plow snow. But right now, Mike will have you on Friday. I'm not really sure when I'm back on, but probably sometime next week. So it's been fun. We had a great game Monday night. Not so much tonight. Hopefully the Flyers can salvage something on Friday night. Maybe pull themselves up by their skate straps. Skate hard against Colorado. Maybe sneak out a point or two against the Avalanche. So make sure you're here for all the action at the end of the Avalanche game. And here's our schedule on the network. Everything to look forward to. I'm tired of going to bed. You guys have a great night. And in the immortal words of the late great Gene Hart, good night. What a terrible game. And good hockey.